Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. He was the #1 U.S. stock market timer in the January 2020 edition of Timer Digest. He's speaking to us from Arizona. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Always fun. Thank you, Jim.
Mark, do the U.S. markets look like they're headed higher or lower?
Well, I'm sort of neutral here, to be honest with you. I mean, we're trading, the cycles say, and there's a whole legion of analysts who are looking for a big sell-off, and I don't disagree with that. We seem to be generating some false signals. We pull back a little bit, and then we come back up again. So when I say false, the big break is not unfolding. So for that reason, I'm a bit neutral. I think, according to my original model, which called for a low in mid-March, strength could continue, through May, possibly even into June. So I'm just waiting for some clear signs that we really have, topped out here on a trading basis, and we'll sort of take it from there. My overall feeling is with the Federal Reserve behind this game and the plunge protection team and so forth and so on. There's so much financial engineering going on the government side. I'm not talking about companies buying back their shares, which I think is less now than used to be, if at all. I'm more in the camp that says we're probably going to see new record highs in the market, whether it's later this year or early next year. So any big shake that hopefully we get at some point here, and we should get one prior to the election, that would be another buying opportunity. But the market could go a bit higher than people expect here short term, and it seems to be frustrating the bears. So rather than say I'm bullish or bearish, I'm sort of just trading both sides. I was more bullish than bearish, but I sort of put myself in that neutral camp because we're running out of time.
Do you have an overall outlook for the stock markets?
Overall positive. Again, it's financial engineering on the grand scale. I think the only place for money is equities. Ultimately, as governments get more into debt and print this phony money, and we already saw what happened in Europe, and we see what's happening now in the U.S. and to a certain part in Canada. I don't want to be in the bond market. I think ultimately money is going to want to have something value behind it, and ultimately the only place for your investment will be stocks. And with the strongest economy being in the United States and the dollar, I still feel being strong. I think ultimately we're going to see much higher prices in the stock market. So I'm going to try to fine-tune that as we move forward here. There's so many variables here with news and with cycles and so forth. But, I would bet, possibility of seeing, new all-time highs, perhaps even later this year. It can't be discounted.
How is gold looking?
I'm bullish on gold overall, but I'm a little bearish short term. I think many of the stocks, the shares are overdone, and I'm looking at my charts, looked at them several times today, and some are sort of struggling to recapture their highs. Some are making highs, some aren't. Bullish sentiment is very, very positive, which worries me. And my cyclical work said the strength should come more in the third and fourth quarter of this year. So I'm more on the bear side as a trader, big picture bullish, but I think your better buy point would be, later this summer.
What's the palladium market doing?
That's a good question. Palladium, was following the stock market, pretty much because of economic activity and the fear that, no one's going to be buying any automobiles and so forth. But I think that's going to pretty much, and has pretty much, turned around. We had a huge shakeout in palladium, as you know. It ran up high with the stock market, and you had a super correction from that 2,700 area all the way down to the 1,500 area, and now we're around 1,700. So in a way, it's sort of like the stock market. It's in a neutral stance right now. I guess as the stock market starts to recover and there's more demand for, the Tesla-type vehicles, and I'm sure there's more of that coming, I think it would recover. So I'm sort of neutral here, but we've had a shakeout, and we got to be watching for another buy point pretty soon.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after the break.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Cypress Development Corp. is developing a world-class lithium resource in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. The size of the resource makes the Clayton Valley project a premier asset with the potential to impact the future of lithium supply. Cypress Development Corp. trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the OTCQB, symbol CYDVF, and on Frankfurt, symbol C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, what's your outlook for crude?
I'm bullish. We had the big shakeout in the market. We're trading it, of course. I'm a little concerned about, and I should have mentioned this to the gold market. Everybody's talking about inflation, and yes, that could be a factor, but I'm more concerned, frankly, about deflationary forces perhaps taking hold here. And so even though I think crude oil ultimately is going to rally, and we saw the big shakeout in it, and it's probably going to go up to $50, $60, $100 a barrel again, we're buyers here as traders, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, a little bit more of a setback along with other commodity prices perhaps during the summer. So neutral to bullish, we're trading it. I would say more bullish as we move through the summer. If we can get another little bit of a pullback, we own a couple of the shares on the domestic side because my feeling is Trump is going to do something to help encourage at least Western Hemisphere oil prices, Canadian, U.S., to support the drillers here. So the shares would be the better beneficiary of that move, even though crude oil overall may move higher. I think the support for the U.S. companies is his main focus, so I'd rather be in the U.S. shares than actually in crude oil itself.
How's the lithium market looking?
This is like the discussion of Palladium. It's all tied to a certain degree based on business activity, and in particular what's going on with the Tesla-type cars, the alternate energy-type cars. It's rallied with the stock market. It came down with the stock market. So it's a market play, and it's also a commodity. So I would say, as I was for Palladium, I'm overall bullish, but neutral here. I think you might have a better buy point in a couple months since we already had a big run-up here. But overall, I think it's going to do well toward the end of the year into next year. Is
the uranium market still on the move?
Uranium market, I still like. It's a little overbought here. We are along the ETF in our service that mirrors the global uranium prices, and we had a nice run up. But on a trading basis, we got a little bit of a trading sell signal here in the last couple of days as some volume came into the downside. So this is like talking about the stock market. I'm bullish, sort of neutral to cautious here because we've had a big run up. It could pull back a little bit and have another run, in a couple months. So as a trader, less bullish than I was, but overall bullish once we get a little bit of a pullback. And I think there's going to be, more a play in the uranium market. I think, there's going to be a second look at nuclear energy. There's been, such a pushback against it for so many years, and I think the realization is now, particularly with a potential conflict with China and so forth, there's going to be more interest in uranium. So, bullish, but more in a couple months here as a trader, is sort of thinking we should exit our long, uranium position and look to buy back in a couple months.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Mark Leibovit. Mark, do you have any favorite sectors that you follow?
I'm sort of partial to the agricultural sector because apparently there's a little bit of a worry about food shortages out there. We know that a lot of food commodities have been thrown away because of distribution issues. There's some hoarding going on, but there are also some shortages out there. So things related to agriculture, growing commodities appeal to us. So we have some ETF positions that favor the commodity prices. A stock like the one that we've been trading here a little bit, Scott's Miracle-Gro, SMG, is I think virtually back to its all-time high. Actually, had made new all-time highs here with the thought that people are out there gardening and trying to grow their own vegetables in fear of shortages in the stores. So both the commodities themselves and stocks like Scott's Miracle-Gro having to do with, food commodity related activity is an area that I'm pretty positive on. And outside of that, I think we covered most of the other major markets regarding, my short-term interest. I am keeping an eye on those very depressed cannabis stocks. They seem to start up and fail again. There's a lot of talk about if there's a Democrat in the White House here in the U.S. This fall that we might see legalization of marijuana in the U.S. broad-based. And I don't know how that all would be implemented, but that certainly would help some of the cannabis stocks. So that could be a play based on a Democratic victory here in the U.S.
Mark, what about security of supply overall? Do you know of companies that are trying to get out of China and perhaps move their operations elsewhere?
Not off the top of my head. Like big names like Tesla, which you thought would have been pressure to back off from that scenario. Just the other day was talking about their operations in China, and I know Donald Trump's been pressuring companies to move back over here. So I don't have a name off the top of my head, but doesn't seem that I can ascertain at the moment a lot of progress is being made, but I know there's a lot of push to get pharmaceuticals, as you know, manufactured here in Canada or the U.S. versus dependence on China, and we'll just have to, it's more of a political issue right now to see how that all plays out, but I honestly can't give you specific names.
Mark, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Have a great weekend and week, and we'll talk to you this time next week. Thanks, Jim.
My guest has been Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. If you have any questions for Mark or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@HowStreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.